Hello and welcome. You're watching Newsx and I'm Shivani Singh. For months, the world has been holding its breath, watching a no war, no peace stalemate between Washington and Tehran. Since the strikes of February 28th and the subsequent fragile ceasefire that began in April, we've seen a pattern, a cycle of strikes, counter-strikes and desperate back-channel diplomacy. But now that diplomacy has hit a wall, a $24 billion wall. We are learning that the latest round of indirect peace negotiations is officially deadlocked. And the reason? A demand from Tehran that is being framed as a trust test. Iran is demanding the immediate release of $24 billion in frozen assets as a prerequisite for any further progress towards a lasting deal. For the Trump administration, this is being called a political minefield. So what is actually happening behind the closed doors of these negotiations? According to Mohsen Rezai, a top military advisor to Iran's new Supreme Leader Ayatollah Mojtaba Khamenei, the logic is simple. Iran wants $12 billion released the moment a memorandum of understanding is signed, with the remaining $12 billion to follow in subsequent stages. The Iranian position is blunt. This is their money, not American aid. They argue that if Donald Trump is serious about ending this war, a war that has already cost thousands of lives and triggered a global energy crisis, he needs to put his money where his mouth is. But let's look at the optics from Washington. US President Donald Trump is currently under immense pressure from a Congress that is increasingly skeptical of his deal-making approach. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has already set rigid preconditions. Iran must first reopen the Strait of Hormuz and clear the naval mines that have effectively choked global trade for months. And for the White House, handing over $24 billion before those security guarantees are met looks like a capitulation, not a compromise. And then there is a meeting that everyone is talking about. US President Donald Trump told the New York Post this week that he would be honored to meet with Supreme Leader Mojtaba Khamenei if a deal is reached. This is vintage Trump, the offer of a summit as a carrot for a breakthrough. But Tehran's response has been cold. Mojtaba Khamenei's team has effectively dismissed the idea. They argue that until the trust deficit is closed, until those assets are released, a photo op serves no purpose. They aren't looking for a headline deal. They're looking for economic oxygen to keep a sanctioned, war-torn economy from total collapse. We have to ask, who is losing in this stalemate? Well, the truth is, both sides are stuck. Trump wants a quick win, a memorandum that can be sold to the American public as a victory before the midterms. Iran, meanwhile, is seeking guarantees that go beyond empty promises, fearing that any deal they sign today could be ripped up by a future administration, just as we saw in the past. We are seeing a divergence in the definition of success. For Washington, success is the neutralization of Iran's nuclear ambitions and the reopening of global shipping lanes. For Tehran, success is survival, the return of their funds and a guarantee that they won't be attacked again by US-Israeli strikes. As the talks in Qatar stall and the dual blockade of the Persian Gulf continues, the clock is ticking. The military advisors in Tehran are already warning that if the deadlock persists, a return to an all-out conflict is inevitable. Is this $24 billion demand a genuine bridge to peace, or is it a prison pill designed to let the negotiations fail? That is the question being asked in every capital from Riyadh to Brussels tonight. We will be tracking the movement of these assets and the shifting of the rhetoric from the White House and the Iranian's Supreme Leader's office. For now, that's all on this story. Thank you for watching.